Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll be creating this simple login page. It's only HTML and CSS. It won't require any JavaScript, but it won't be functional either. It's simply the styling. Let's get started. So back to our code. We have a simple HTML template, nothing more. We have a background image that I'll be using. And in our CSS, we simply have some basic settings. So we have a font style imported. We have everything set to border box. This is good practice. And in the body, we apply the font family that we've imported, set the margin to 0, set the height to cover the whole area, to take up the whole device height. The display, it should be flex, because if it's flex, we can use these properties. So the direction of it will be a column. The items will be aligned to the center horizontally and vertically as well. The overflow will be hidden. The text color should be white. And here we set the background image. We set its background size to be the whole page. And we set it to be no repeat. Now back onto our HTML. Here we are going to create a div. Give it the class login. Inside that there is going to be our title. This one's going to be simply. And then we'll need to create our form. Inside the form we'll have different divs. The container for them is going to be login boxes. Inside the login boxes we are going to create a div. This is going to have the name input box. And inside the input box, we simply say input. The type this time should be text. And we'll set a placeholder for it. It should be username. We then put a simple line break here. And copy this whole code. Because we'll be needing one more for the password. So the type should be password this time. The placeholder should also change. And we don't need the line break here anymore. After that, we'll create another div. This is going to have the class login options. Inside it, there are going to be two labels. One is going to have an input inside it. This type should be checkbox. Remember me. Under that, another label. This is going to have an A element inside it. Set its href to default. And forget password. As for the last one, we'll have another div. This is going to be the class login and. There will be a button. This will have the type submit. And an h2 element. And inside it an A element. Also set it to default. Sign up. So if we have a look now, this is how it's looking. Ugly, right? That's why we'll have to jump onto our CSS and start working on this. So back in our CSS, we'll start with formatting the login. Oops. Inside the login, first of all, its display should be flex so that we can use flex properties. We'll say flex direction, column. We justify to the center horizontally, then vertically. The width should be 30 viewport width units. The height should be 60 viewport width units. There is going to be a backdrop filter. And this is going to have a blur of 5 pixels. This is going to give it the blurry look that I've showed you in the introduction. There should be a background color. I'll just copy this one. You can choose whatever you like. There should be a padding, 5 viewport width and 5 viewport height. Border radius of 15 pixels. The background, it will be set to transparent. The border, there should be a white solid border of 3 pixels. Coming to our login form, it should have a width of 100%. The display should be flex here as well. We align everything to the center. And the flex direction should be column. And between the elements, we shall have a gap of 2 viewport height units. As for the login boxes, we simply set the width to be 100%. Its display should be flex. We justify the content to the center. Align items to the center as well. And the flex direction will be column again. Basically the same code that we've written before. Now as for the input box, simply set the width to be 100%. Now for the input of type text, as well as the input of type password, you can select properties in CSS like this or elements in CSS like this. The width should be 100%. The height should be 90%. Border radius 40 pixels. The padding on the left side should be 20 pixels. Font size 20 pixels. The outline should be set to none. Simply set another border of 3 pixels, solid and white. Set the background to be transparent. The color to be white. And the padding 1.1 rem units. These are just some simple CSS properties to give. Now the same selector here, but this time when you focus on them, the focus will mean that when you click into it, so when it's selected, then we set the border color to be a different one. I just copy paste this time, like this. As for the input placeholder, so you can style the placeholder as well. We'll have a different color set. It's basically just a bit grayish. For the login options, we have a font size of 19 pixels, width of 100%. The display should be flex, and we justify the content to be space between. So they will be pushed to the side and use every space that's given between. So if it's a large amount of space, then one element will be on the left side of the page, the other element will be on the right side. But the space given is not that much, so we can use this to style it properly. As for the login end, we'll set its display to be flex, align the items vertically to the center, and the flex direction should be column. Also set the width of 100%. As for the inputs inside the login option, we set the width to be 2 viewport height units and 2 viewport height, and the height as well. Coming to the bottom, we set the width to be 100%, the height to be 7 viewport height units, the border radius 40 pixels, the background should be white. The border should be 3 pixels. And solid white. The color should be black. The font size 20 pixels. The cursor should be pointer, so that whenever you hover over it, there will be a pointer like I'm doing here in VS Code. And there is going to be a transition, ease in out. This will smoothen out everything we do whenever, for example, we will in the hover effect just down here, so the button, whenever you hover over the button, its background color and border color will change. For this one, I'll just copy paste the values because you can easily customize it to your liking, so that whenever this happens, it won't just snap, the transition will be smooth. I'll show you in a minute, we're almost done. As for the H2 elements, the font size would be 21 pixels. The A element, the font weight should be bold. The color should be white. It will also have a transition, ease in out, and the duration should be 0.2 seconds. And the same applies here, so that whenever we hover over the element, the color will change, the text color. So if we come back now, refresh. So here it's not quite looking how we expected to it, but that's because I've made some mistakes while recording, so let's fix those together. The first mistake is going to be here. When you use viewport units, I've set the height to be the width unit, which is not good. I should set viewport height instead. The second one is here in the login. We don't have a class called login form. We only have the login class, and inside that the form element. So that's another one. And the last ones are going to be the border radiuses. Do you see here? I've set border instead of border radius. And here as well. Now if we come back, refresh, here we have our nice login form with all the issues that we needed to fix. That's it for this one. If you liked the video and would like to see more, make sure to subscribe to our channel and drop a like below. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.